In 1811, one of the finest mercantile ships on the market went missing off the west coast of Vancouver Island. The builder of the ship itself said that it was a first-rate ship and pierced with 22 guns and proved a fast-sailing vessel, of speed perhaps equal to any sloop of war of the Navy. So how did a top-of-the-line vessel with enough firepower to take on any naval ship, had a crew of 33 of the finest men, and was on a peaceful mission to conduct trade for otter pelts, disappear and have its crew killed and leave its last known location a mystery? Well, because the business was not appreciated by everybody, such as the Nawiti and the local otter population. But it was not the otters that killed everyone this time. This is the story of Pacific Fur Company's ship, the Tonquin. Welcome to the Battles of History, where we go over the thousands of battles that made the world like it is today, such as the Battle of the newly formed American country and the Nawiti indigenous group. However, before we can go over the battle itself, we must talk about the reason the Tonquin was in the American Northwest at all, and that reason is trade. The country of America has only been independent for a little over 30 years, and they needed to expand their trade network in order to improve the country and compete with the British Canadians who have dominated the fur trade in the past. So the Tonquin set out in 1811 to try and form a new trading post in the mouth of the Columbia River close to modern-day Washington State. The new trading post would allow the Americans to collect all the nice otter pelts that their young hearts could handle. The building of the Astoria fort surprisingly went off without a hitch. Furthermore, their relationship with the natives also proved good, and they traded with each other regularly. So, on June 5th, 1811, Captain Thorne, the captain of the Tonquin, went off with 32 men to secure some otter pelts for a man named Baranoff at Port Archangel. Thorne collected the pelts from Baranoff, turned his ship around, and captained the Tonquin back to Astoria, but it never arrived. The first accounts of the vessel's disappearance were made more than a month after it happened, when Chinooks and Clatsops told Duncan McDougall, one of the partners of the company, what they knew about the Tonquin. McDougall wrote the report down and is the first known first-hand account of what happened to the Tonquin. The Tonquin was on its way to Astoria when it was cut off at Nootka, where natives boarded the ship and wanted to make some trades with Captain Thorne. However, Thorne only offered them 2 blankets in exchange for 1 river otter, which displeased them so much that one of the chiefs gave him some insolent language. Thorne responded by rubbing the otter across the chief's face, which enraged him so much that he ordered his entire tribe ashore. The next day, the Norwegians followed the Tonquin in canoes. Captain Thorne, looking to make some trades and amend their relationship with the Norwegians, asked the chief to join them on board. When he got onto the ship, he requested that more and more of his men be led on board. Whether the captain agreed to this is a mystery, but perhaps he really wanted some otter pelts. When enough Norwegians were on the ship, the chief gave the signal and killed almost every man on board using the hidden knives. However, they missed 4 crewmen on the Tonquin, who quickly ran to the magazine and ignited the gunpowder. The ship blew up, killing the 4 crewmen and about 100 Norwegians. This first report by McDougall ends there. However, this account just begins the confusion around the Tonquin's disappearance. 3 years later, in 1814, a native translator named Yosekal told McDougall that the attack happened in Wickakonish, known today as Clayoquot Sound, where the historians believed it to be in Nootka. This was backed up by another man who tried to locate the ship's disappearance, named Alexander Ross, a worker in Astoria who sailed with the ship to found the company. Ross suggested the attack on the vessel actually took place in Clayoquot Sound. However, the name of the man who gave Ross the information was Cassakal, which was likely Yosekal, but spelled incorrectly. Statements might not be trustworthy, as Alexander Ross called him a man of questionable character, as he was suspected of plotting against the Astorians. This means that while the initial reports had the explosion happen in Nootka Bay, someone who claimed they were there when it exploded says it happened in Clayoquot Sound. To give you an idea about the geography of northwestern America, the Nawiti live here on the western side of Vancouver Island, known as Clayoquot Sound. Nootka is here, further north on the Vancouver Island, where other natives lived and traded otter pelts. Well, it might not seem like a big difference when you're trying to find the records of an exploded ship. Every inch matters. Furthermore, John Jewett in 1805 wrote about how the Nawiti traveled in canoe throughout the coast of Western Canada, especially to and from Nootka for trade, meaning that it is likely that they were in Nootka during the time of the Tonquin in order to trade. After 200 years and many questions asked, the attack has been narrowed down to 2 areas: the middle west coast of Vancouver, where the Nawiti live, Clayoquot, or the more northern area of Nootka. With all the first-hand information collected, it is possible to narrow the location down to the most probable spot. In my opinion, and of that of many historians, it is likely that the ship exploded in Nootka. Considering the information given to McDougall by the natives, which was the first account of the explosion, it happened in the north by Norwegians in canoes. And with Yosekal being untrustworthy, he likely was not telling Ross the correct place the ship sank. Therefore, it was likely that the Nawiti sailed from their village in Clayoquot to Nootka in search of trades, but instead started the battle. However, until concrete or wooden evidence is found, in the case of a ship sinking, it will likely forever be a mystery of the exact resting place of the Tonquin, its 30 crew members, and hundreds of natives. As for the fur company, it was disbanded in 1813, partly because it could never recover from the Tonquin Incident. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and especially subscribe to the channel so that you can get more videos like this. Also, tell me what you think happened to the Tonquin in the comments below. There are also some resources in the description where you can learn more about the incident if you want. And if you haven't yet, please watch my other video about the War of the Oranges, which should be on your screen now. We are the Battles of History, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you.